I mean,
here,
it's atypically low density.
But here I still feel it's like in terms of the space, I mean the space setup. For this, I hope I didn't mislead you by showing this kind of a comparison image. You know, the compares with the outside the neighborhood.
Yeah.
That things are only the intention is just to show this contrast of the density.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not the typology of the space, but actually this kind of a typology can achieve even more than what exists.
Can I ask you a question? Because I went through a kind of very disconcerting moment. I left the room for 4 minutes, and before there was a kind of palatable kind of reversion against the solitary masterpiece that seems to have turned into a huge sympathy for a completely eccentric building, and at the same time, what could be arguably a kind of contemporary slum is now embraced as a huge improvement in and typically Asian kind of form of university building. And I'm kind of particularly interested in the second part. Are you really saying that Asians are able to live at a kind of density that will make it, for instance, tolerable that in this building there would not be a glass wall here, that the building that is now kind of maybe 20 meters away would actually build against the facade, that if we went to the canteen there would be no daylight, etc., etc. Are you really saying that you could handle that and that it would be a good thing?
Well,
because I think that you only have to look at, here are entire buildings that will not have any facades anymore. The depth is so huge that, let's say, if you present yourself as Asian, I think then I present us as a kind of we. We used to call it rabbit wardens, and we used to kind of really consider that in women, and we thought that certain kind of things like daylight, reference to the exterior, are actually important. So why this completely uncritical?
Well, I like to say before I traveled to Seoul, I didn't think that's gonna work.
Yeah.
But after I went to Seoul, the trip, I was even myself from Asia. I was really surprised that everything can happen underground, which is literally underground, has no daylight at all. This kind of bookstore, all this kind of entertainment facility, gyms.
Yeah, but did you like it? Did it make you happy?
I think I like it because once they have, once they have program there, let's say shopping center, you really concentrate, you really matters things is only the merchandise. You don't, I mean, they may
so you like it because it's a more efficient delivery system.
Exactly. It's a more efficient. And the other...
And you all kind of applaud this.
I didn't actually hear an applause.
Just one more thing, it's like American mall, which as an acceptance, which is, I think, when I inside, I don't see any difference with those underground space.
Yeah, but there are studies which show that there is a strong correlation between how much people are buying in a space which has daylight access compared to a space which is only relying on artificial lighting. So in this case, it's Europe and America. It's not a study which was done in Asia. But I would doubt that Asian people are so different.
And I think the generalization is so dangerous. Anything created not good. Well, and of course you speak about that. On the ground there is no comfortable architectural thing, but there is the content, programmatic content.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
If I refer the word basement in English Korean dictionary, there is some explanation like that. In American department store, in the basement floor, they usually sell cheap stuff. And in Korea, they sell grocery. Grocery and cheap stuff is not don't need the architecture. It is just the what's that? The relationship between the stuff, the things and the the merchandise and people, as in the basement of the product.
Well, I guess we're not talking about what is the ideal model. We're talking about what is workable or what is the alternative
But in the
thing work.
1010 model that you showed, the diagram, you show the argument for daylight getting in to points, which you don't then translate into your project.
No, I just take that one as the one of this inspiration to me to show that there's a possibility of having this kind of a footprint, the high density footprint. The other thing I think in Asia, we're not talking about daylight is better or dark is better. We're talking about where people go. I mean, that's the reality. I'm not saying underground is better than this kind of nice open space. I'm saying when you have nowhere to go, when you're having this kind of urban slang, maybe you can do some hyper density, then you can exchange having open space
that's
outside.
the kind of whole paradox of your whole thing. Because in that sense, a campus in a kind of city which is so dense is a kind of great relief. And actually offers certain kind of very tangible pleasures. And kind of, if you spoke to the students, it was very clear that kind of any square foot of open space, they had kind of hundreds of different ways of using them. Kind of some of them legal, many of them illegal, and that was kind of one of the great virtues of the campus life. So I find it can really, I'm very excited that there is an Asian polemic here, and I consider that a really very huge virtue of the studio, but I at the same time feel a kind of intolerance against cities as they have developed over history, and I think that to some extent you have to kind of face the fact that Seoul is no longer an entirely Asian city. It is an Asian city that has been ruled by Asians of two different nations that has been kind of rebuilt by Asians, that have been colonized by the Japanese and Americans, and it shows all those kind of phases. And for me, it's kind of an intolerable idea that in the name of the Asian, some of those histories would be erased.
So let's say there's no such thing as the Asian city, and yet there are certain elements in particular to this. I mean, is it possible? I mean, let me put it another way: that there is such a thing as Asia, right, and Asian cities, but that one of the things, because you kept talking about the reality of Asian cities, but I was at least personally a little disappointed that you took that reality as a kind of given, basically, that this was like a default. Whereas it should be more or less clear that the use of the kind of Asian city is already symptomatic of a at least negotiable idea about what the city is. Like, it's not given and now and forever either available to be reproduced, exacerbated in the way that you may be doing, or basically, surrendered to, which I think you're trying to resist, surrendering to it, right? But I guess, is it possible to imagine a different kind of a city? This is to me is like the question. And it's not, that's why I was asking you about this particular drawing, because this is the sort of, where you put your cards on the table about the city. And so what you do, I think, very diplomatically preserve, although maybe it does work as an urban figure, is that monumental axis, which suggests to me that even though the kind of, even if you accept the sort of intensity, density of the red part, that the symbolic nature of the kind of, basically the Western University transplanted, blah, 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 all that back and forth, is going to be protected and in effect amplified by establishing this kind of street line in which these various facades will become probably fairly prominent against the background buildings that are red. So a kind of, historic preservation of the monuments. And then the other